Most people who become millionaires before 30 did not get lucky. They did not inherit money. They did not go viral. They did not win anything. They made a series of decisions starting earlier than most people start, and they repeated those decisions with a consistency that most people are not willing to maintain. That is the whole story. Everything else is detail. You are reading this at whatever age you are right now. If you are under 25, you have more time than you think, and you are wasting more of it than you know. If you are closer to 30, the window is narrower, but it is not closed. The math still works. The habits still apply. The only question is whether you are willing to move at a speed that makes the timeline possible. Let us start with what $1 million actually means before 30. It does not mean you drive a Ferrari. It does not mean you live in a penthouse. It means you have built a net worth of $1 million or more before your 30th birthday. Net worth includes what you own minus what you owe. Savings, investments, business equity, real estate. Assets that have real value. Understanding this is step one because most people are chasing a lifestyle when they should be building a number. The first thing you need to understand is that employment alone will almost never get you there before 30 unless you are in an extremely high-paying field from day one. The average salary in most countries does not produce $1 million net worth in less than a decade after taxes, expenses, and the slow start of most careers. This is not pessimism, this is math. And the math tells you that you need income that can grow faster than a fixed salary allows. That means you need a second income stream. Not someday, not when you are stable, now, while you are employed, while you are in school, while you are figuring everything else out. The second income does not need to be large at first. It needs to exist, and it needs to grow. A freelance skill that earns $200 a month today can earn $2,000 a month in 12 months with focused development. $2,000 a month from a side income invested consistently becomes a significant foundation. That foundation compounds. Compounding is the mechanism that makes the million possible before the decade is over. Here is a real sequence of what this looks like. You are 22. You have a job that pays you enough to cover your expenses with a small amount left over. You identify one skill you can monetize outside of work. You spend 90 days developing it to a level where someone will pay for it. You earn your first $200 from it. You reinvest that into improving the skill. You raise your prices. You earn $500 a month. You take that $500 and you split it. Half goes into a low-cost index fund every single month without exception. Half goes back into building the income. By 24, your side income has grown to $1,500 a month. Your index fund has been receiving contributions for 2 years, and the compound growth has started to become visible. You raise your prices again. You turn the freelance work into a small business. You hire one person to help you. The income grows to $4,000 a month. You are 25. Your investments have been growing for 3 years. Your business has equity. Your net worth is starting to look like something real. This is not a fantasy. This is a sequence. The sequence works because of 3 things happening simultaneously: income growing, expenses controlled, assets compounding. Let us talk about expenses because this is where most young people destroy the plan before it starts. You will be tempted to upgrade your lifestyle every time your income grows. This is the trap. It has a name: lifestyle inflation. Every raise you get goes to a better apartment. Every side income breakthrough goes to a better car. Every business win goes to nights out and clothes and things that feel like rewards but are actually withdrawals from your future. The people who reach $1 million before 30 are almost universally known in their 20s for living below their means, not because they are suffering, because they understand that every dollar that does not leave is a dollar that can compound. The rule is simple. When your income grows, your savings rate grows, your lifestyle grows slowly, your assets grow fast. That ratio is the difference between the person who is worth $1 million at 29 and the person who earns well but arrives at 30 with nothing accumulated. Now let us talk about the asset side because income and savings alone are not enough to reach $1 million before 30 for most people. You need your money to be working while you are working. Index funds are the foundation. A broad market index fund tracking the total market or the S&P 500 has averaged approximately 10% annual returns over the long term. If you invest $1,000 a month starting at 22 and maintain that for 8 years, you will have approximately $115,000 in that fund at 30. That alone does not make you $1 million, but it is part of the foundation and it is the safest part. The faster path to the million is business equity. A business you own that generates profit has a value that is typically calculated as a multiple of its annual profit. A business making $50,000 a year in net profit is often worth $150,000 to $200,000 as an asset. A business making $100,000 a year in profit is often worth $300,000 to $400,000. You do not need to build a tech startup. You need to build something that generates consistent profit and that you own. Service businesses, content businesses, e-commerce operations, local businesses solving real problems. The type matters less than the execution. Real estate is the third pillar for some people in this timeline. Buying a property in your mid-20s with a modest down payment and renting it out creates both cash flow and equity appreciation. The mortgage gets paid by the tenant. The property grows in value over time. In 7 or 8 years, the equity in a single property can represent a significant portion of $1 million net worth. This requires capital to start, and it requires understanding of the local market, but it is a path that many pre-30 millionaires have used as a core component of their wealth. Here is what the complete picture looks like for someone who reaches $1 million before 30. They started earning income from something they built or sold at an early age. They lived below their means consistently for the entire decade of their 20s. They invested a fixed percentage of every dollar they earned without exception and without timing the market. They built or bought an asset that appreciated in value over time. They did not stop when the first thing worked because they understood that one income stream is never enough and one asset is never enough. They also did something that most people underestimate. They invested aggressively in their own knowledge. Books, courses, mentors, time spent studying business, finance, and investing. The return on knowledge compounds the same way money does. The person who spends 2 hours a week understanding financial markets for 5 years arrives at a different level of decision-making than the person who does not. Those better decisions are worth more than any single investment. The timeline is tight, the habits are specific, the sacrifices are real.
Like and follow now, or the video stops. I don't make the rules, so do it now.
You will miss some things in your 20s that your friends experience, vacations you do not take, items you do not buy, events you skip because the cost does not justify the moment when measured against the goal. Those are real costs. Nobody should pretend they are not. But here is what the other side of that trade looks like. At 30, you have a foundation that most people do not have at 50. You have the freedom to make decisions from a position of strength instead of desperation. You have options that do not exist for people still building their foundation in their 40s. You have the psychological transformation that only comes from proving to yourself that you can build something from nothing. That confidence is not something you can buy later. It is built in the process. The million before 30 is not the end of anything. It is the proof of a system that continues to compound for the rest of your life. The person who builds $1 million before 30 typically builds multiple millions in the decade that follows because the habits are established and the foundation is solid and the knowledge is deep. You do not need a perfect plan to start. You need to start and let the plan improve as you move. The first step is the second income stream. The second step is the first investment. The third step is the first asset you own that works while you sleep. One step, then the next, then the one after that. The math works if you do.
You know what to do.